Question is, how do you get people to do this stuff? We believe it works. Okay, fine, we're convinced, yay. How do you get the kid to do it? Because you're asking them to do a bunch of stuff that they're not used to doing, because some of this stuff is counterintuitive. So how do you get them to do it? Well, the counterintuitive part, you are exactly right. In fact, much of this is based on an article I read in Wired magazine when I started teaching study skills. The title of the article was, "Everything You Thought You Knew About Learning is Wrong." So you're right. So yeah, it's counterintuitive, but the kids are hip to the fact that it's hard to do school without there being lots of inefficiency built in. Okay, kids know that it's impossible to run a school without massive amounts of inefficiency. And you acknowledge that. And you're like, hey, you do what at your school? Well, that's dumb. Well, I wonder if there's a reason, or I wonder if it's because that's how the county set it up, right? So first you acknowledge to the kid that, hey, you're going to do a bunch of stuff differently. You get the results immediately. The results from, what happened? The results from one, here's an example of a foolproof device. Right? I mean, that was quick. The results from one weekend of review. You ask the kid, how long would it take you? You go through each of their classes. Okay, math. How long would it take you to stack up all your math that you did that week, flip through it, pick out the good stuff, and write it over here in a study guide? And they'll tell you somewhere between 5 and 60 minutes. You say, okay, fine. And you go through all the classes. And that's going to be somewhere between an hour and a half and 4 hours of work. And then you have them do it one weekend here. And then that next week, they're going to feel 100 times smarter than they've ever felt in their life, because they've done something that not only they've never done before, but that no other kid in the room is doing. And they're going to go, whoa, that totally worked. I learned more in class. And then the thing is, the benefit of this, the payoff is much quicker than you might think, because when you're half a step ahead, when you're that on top of it, all this other painful after-school homework takes less time. So I think it's not as bad as you might think. Like you might think, oh, well, I have to review everything every weekend until I take the final. And like, well, okay, yeah, but things are going to get better right away, because you're going to show up to class with a question and a comment. And then you're going to get to help somebody who had a stupid question, and that's going to make you feel good. And then if your comment, oh my gosh, you get to share your comments, and then someone says something else interesting, oh, well, now it's really fun, right? But mostly, if you know the material that well, then the homework takes less time. So part of the benefit of moving these couple, right now, no kid is doing these 4 hours on the weekend unless I made them. But they're doing 3 or 4 hours a night on a school night because they don't know this stuff and because they're working super distractedly. So I always start by asking the kid, how many hours of homework do you have in a day? How many days a week? Okay, how much on the weekend? And then they give you a number. And you know for a fact that every kid is working super distractedly. We already know that. So if you get them to stop doing that, it's going to go better. You get them to actually use the study skills, it's going to go better. And you get them to move some of the hours to the weekend mornings when their brain actually works, and it's going to go better. So there's a lot of ways that things could go better. Even just not doing the dumb stuff, things will go better.